What are some horrifying things to consider when thinking about aliens? Aliens could do to us what we did to wolves. Selectively breeding a once noble species in grotesque ways. Transforming us into the equivalent of bulldogs, poodles, dachshunds, etc. That they could have been here the entire time, playing Farmville with us. Would be scary to imagine us starved. One theory, from Stephen Hawking, is that if they are sufficiently advanced that aliens may treat us like ants. When we build dams, we don't worry about whether or not a dam will cause an anthill to be flooded out. Similarly, a species that is advanced as far beyond us as we are beyond ants might seek to alter our planet or even our solar system to their advantage without giving consideration to what may happen to us. Like to make way for a hyperspace bypass? The possibility of them already knowing about us but us not knowing about them. We have no idea if they know. They could be committing space espionage right now and we wouldn't know about it. It's possible that they are fat single-cell organisms just loafing around. They're already here. Just like. For all we know, aliens might not be the little green men that fly around in flying saucers and destroy us with laser beams. They could be an interstellar pathogen that show up one day and silently and effortlessly kills us all without warning. Our immune systems would have no idea what hit them. There was a book called Blindsight that explores a cool idea of aliens where they're not your typical little green men. The premise is pretty much what if humanity is unique? What if intelligent life is common, but sentience is not? That music, art, literature is a uniquely human trait. That space is filled with cold, emotionless, genius life. To me that idea is kinda horrifying. At least, I think that's what the book was about. I'm not the best reader lol. Our human concepts of morality and empathy are heavily influenced by our mammalian biology. Imagine that aliens land, and instead of having nice little family units their species lays clutches of thousands of eggs at a time. They don't form strong bonds. Life is essentially expendable for them. They see us weeping over a dead child and they have literally no frame of reference for understanding why this would be upsetting. I'm not saying all aliens will be like this, but some definitely could be. They might be SI, and they might be horny. What if there really is valuable information to be gained from NL probes? What if it ends up the other way around? What if we end up being able to travel between the stars? And we find some aliens that aren't as technologically advanced as we are? I could easily see us being imperialist invaders, committing the atrocities we've committed against each other on an entire species so we could have a second planet with an oxygen atmosphere and easily attainable natural resources. That would be truly horrifying. I mean, would anyone be surprised at us being the monsters all along? The assumption that they come in groups in some flying saucer. For all we know they might just appear in hordes of thousands if not millions all across the planet. Also, we like to think that aliens will share the same way of thinking as humans, i.e. reasoning, emotions, etc. But the only reason we think that is because that's the only thing we are familiar with. Aliens might have completely different emotions or thought processes than us but we won't know because we never encountered them before. It's like the fourth dimension. At this point it's pretty well established what it is but most of us, if not all, have no clue how to visualize or properly explain it. They might bully you. Extremely unlikely. I know. But if aliens ever come to Earth it likely means they are a spacefaring and interstellar capable species with tech at least centuries, if not millennia, ahead of ours. In other words, if aliens are even remotely capable of traveling to our planet. The speed of light is 186,000 miles per second. I think that any aliens that are capable of traveling light years to reach us have no interest in our resources. The scariest thing to me is thinking that aliens want nothing to do with us. I don't get why everyone thinks that aliens would attack us immediately. It's one thing if we come into their territory. But if they stumble upon us, we're most likely safe. Them finding us would mean they are incredibly advanced. Anything they could get by attacking Earth they could get far easier by harvesting it from a different planet in our solar system. Unless they feed specifically on brainwaves. It isn't worth the hassle to attack a planet teeming with life. They may have some weapons, however primitive, that might be used against you. It's far more frightening to believe that aliens will one day discover us and won't be interested. They won't want us on their intergalactic councils. They won't want to give us medicine. They won't want to form any bond. If they decide to just leave humanity alone, that means either they have decided we are not worth saving, or that we are too close to destruction to be worth the resources. That they could be massive, taller than buildings and eat us like bacon strips. My main thing is that they'll bring a virus or something that'll just wipe us out cause we've never seen anything like it. Or we'll be immune cause it's too alien. Who knows? But until there is actual proof that there are advanced aliens out there, I'll stick to the idea that they are bacterial cells on Titan or something. Maybe all these supposed alien abductions and UFOs over the past 100 years have been alien scientists building vaccinations against our known diseases for themselves and adapting their own medical immunities for humans too, or monitoring our progress against our own diseases so when both civilizations are on top of it we can be welcomed into the galactic fold safely. Maybe they just try and make sure everyone is safe and happy for galactic adventures with their new friends. That one day they will just wipe out our planet without us ever knowing why, and that it will be so fast we don't even realize it. They can also come in different forms than we expect. Since life on this planet is one big cycle of eating other living things, plants and animals, to survive. Right? Imagine aliens that evolved on a planet where all life photosynthesizes. They see us and they're like, oh cool. A whole planet full of monsters. That they don't actually exist. If there were no advanced civilization that can colonize other planets, that would mean that most of them go extinct before they reach that level of technological advancement. Maybe they treat us like we treat pigs. The fact that they could pretty much see us as inferior life forms. Thus, they could make us slaves, their food or test subjects. It wouldn't be something personal. They just would look down on us like we would do with some ants. Not even worth it changing the direction of a step to avoid killing. That they found us, observed from a distance for the past 10 years or so, and have declared the planet a disaster area that nobody should ever visit. You know those tribes that live on islands in the Pacific that haven't had technological progress in thousands of years? That's us. You know those international logging companies that would love a chance to just come plow over the island and take what's there? Somewhere there's an alien Greenpeace that's just barely getting by on a shoestring budget. What if their cheeks aren't clappable? We are only an intelligent species because we defined ourselves that way. Think of it. There is only a 1% difference in DNA between chimps and us, meanwhile the difference in intelligence is huge. We are exploring the cosmos with our advanced telescopes, meanwhile the smartest chimp is stacking up rocks. Now think of an alien species that has a 1% DNA difference with us lining the other way. Their simplest thoughts would be too complicated for us. The smartest person on Earth would be like a chimp stacking up rocks for them. Now think of a species with another 1% difference. We wouldn't even be like ants walking on the floor to them. We would be less than that. And you could go on like that. 10%, 20%, 30%, etc. What would we be? So insignificant that no one in the cosmos would consider making contact with us? Is the truth of the cosmos and reality actually really simple but we are just too stupid? Like expecting ants walking on a football field to understand what's going on the field? Do we not know what we don't know? The fact that any life form that advanced that showed up to Earth without wanting a peaceful contact would likely just show up, vacuum up all the resources and leave us to die without any communication or anything. Think about it. When humans go into nature to get resources, they don't kill all the animals. They just take what they want and leave. For some reason that is more chilling to me than aliens just glassing the planet with lasers. I don't think a peaceful alien would contact us. We are violent and very territorial. Things that would be in opposition to any kind of peaceful alien or interplanetary federation. The dark forest theory kinda freaks me out. The universe is a dark forest. Every civilization is an armed hunter stalking through the trees like a ghost, gently pushing aside branches that block the path and trying to tread without sound. Even breathing is done with care. The hunter has to be careful, because everywhere in the forest are stealthy hunters like him. If he finds another lifeless sign of a hunter, angel, or a demon, a delicate infant, a tottering old man, a fairy or demigoddess, there's only one thing he can do. Open fire and eliminate them. The other day, I looked at pictures of the universe and thought, what if Earth is the size of a marble ball to an alien? I think it's called an theory. That we are so small, we can't possibly comprehend the space we live in and see or acknowledge other beings. That it's already happened. That aliens came to Earth, destroyed what was already living there, and took over. That we, humans, had been the aliens. I remember reading a short sci-fi story in an old 2000 AD comic book where a massive army of humans was cruising through the galaxy, conquering every planet with intelligent life they came across. It took centuries. So I assume every child born was just raised to be a soldier. Fast forward a bit and the army comes across a beautiful planet, occupied by artists, musicians, actors and poets. Almost zero pollution. Everyone on the planet is pretty lazy and chill. No armies exist because the world is at peace. The army finds these people despicable and starts slaughtering them by the droves. When suddenly, they see the world flies the exact same flags and banners as the army. They had returned to their own planet, Earth. That they are going to treat us just like we treat animals. The idea it just might not be possible to ever interact with them even if we can detect them. What if there is no magical technology that sidesteps the speed of light? What if the hard fact is that it will take over 500 years of travel to pass a single message along? We won't know about their existence until they attack us. What if they were like, really? That they won't be bangable. 99% of aliens in media are just pretty, slightly alter humans. With a few exceptions. The others are horror movie monsters. So they are less about sentient life, and more about ending yours. What if they decide to colonize? But they don't like oxygen very much. So that won't be as prominent anymore. Honestly, if they have the tech, we are FK'd. Here's hoping they are nice and bangable. I can 100% guarantee even if they were objectively hideous, they'd still be bangable too. Like 7 people at least. The way that we tend to treat other forms of life that aren't quite like us. And also how we treat forms of life that are exactly like us, but which we manage to convince ourselves are somehow different, a bit less human than we are. Not horrifying, but every picture of an alien, real or fake, they are naked. Humans have had clothes for thousands of years. So why don't they? The most horrifying thing about discovering aliens would be that the human race would have no idea how to process the aliens. We would be absolutely terrified of them because they would probably be beyond human comprehension. Alien discovery would be one of the scariest things to ever happen to mankind. If they come to us, then they are automatically thousands of years more advanced than us. They could be more attractive than humans. You could get aroused by aliens. Bro. Just look at what happened to Native Americans when white people showed up. The same will happen to all of us. We'll get reservations and casinos. That they've been and are the sole reason humans exist here at all. We are them. We are genetically linked to all other species on this planet. I mean, what if they are just like us but with super technology and weapons? Then we'd be extremely FK'd. If there is alien life out there that is aware of our existence, they are so much more advanced than us that we're inconsequential to them. They would look at us the same way the average person looks at a colony of ants. Until they find something useful for us to do or something we have that could be useful to them. We taste like pork. That they might be so advanced that you don't even notice them. That they are from the future. Time flows differently in space, and if aliens are real then they could be from the future. What if the aliens are humans from the future but they've evolved so much we can't recognize them as human? They could have a weapon with power equivalent to the Death Star with a size 100x smaller than the battle station from the films. They might have all the unobtainium. For all we know, they could be infinitely physically stronger than us. What if the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs was actually a UFO and we are the aliens? Why they're here? Maybe more of a mind FCK than horrifying. But what if aliens aren't alive by our definition? There's a fringe theory that alien sightings are psychic projections of the person or people viewing them. That the aliens only exist in the mind of the people viewing them. But in that manner they do actually exist. To try to explain, the aliens reveal themselves to us through psychic projections. There isn't a ship in the sky until the aliens put into our heads that there's a ship in the sky. And then it's there. Not that we think it's there. It's actually there. But not because it flew here. It's here because the aliens put it into being in our minds. But not a hallucination. It's actually there. A kind of poor analogy would be the voices a schizophrenic hears being real, as opposed to just seeming real to the person who hears them. This calls into question our very definition of what it means to exist, and proposes an entity that can dictate what reality is. I apologize for not explaining it well. I have trouble wrapping my head around it. Someone else has probably already said this, but the theory that aliens have observed the slow growth and evolution of humanity for a long time. Caveman era. That they have come to the conclusion that we are not even remotely a threat to them, nor would we be much use as an ally. So they decided to ignore us and not bother wasting their time with humans that, to them, are much too primitive. We have psychopaths, I'm sure they have psychopaths too. They could all be psychopaths with no empathy. That they out from another planet. Merely another time. A post-sun time where humans have adapted to an environment with no light, large eyes, grey skin, humanoid features. They aren't visiting us to learn anything new. They are analyzing their ancestors' past mistakes. That they already found us but concluded that there is no intelligent life on Earth. They would know what I've searched in incognito mode. I'm not afraid of aliens. Even if they're out there, which I certainly won't rule out, then they're too far away to ever interact with us. Either we are alone in the universe or we are not. That even if every conspiracy theory about aliens having been here is true, we're probably never going to hear about it from our governments because of the mass panic that would ensue. We struggle enough with terrestrial diseases and infections. If extraterrestrial beings came to this daft little planet we live on without ill will, the diseases they would bring, similar to what could happen with non-contact tribes like the Sentinelese. They've had no exposure to some of the modern day diseases and just one person could kill them all without meaning to or knowing. Simply because they carry an infection, virus or disease. Our immunity has evolved and adapted to common diseases, and as the human race, we've worked to help people become immune to not so common diseases. As proven by SARS-CoV-2. All it takes is something novel, new, previously unknown, to wreak havoc on the human race. We may not be able to mobilize our collective medical knowledge with speed. If we can even identify and work towards a cure with current terrestrial technology. Before it infects and possibly kills the human race. All just because some crazy little, or large, ET just wanted to say hi. That they might not exist. If there are aliens, they could undoubtedly pose a threat to humanity. But I think most people want alien life to exist elsewhere. That way we aren't alone in the universe. I think that the most horrifying thing to think about is that despite how incredibly huge the universe is, we might be the only ones in it. Edit. Reread my comment. Alien life wouldn't undoubtedly pose a threat to humanity. It may pose a threat. And that's assuming that it's intelligent life that were no more interesting or important to them than the anthill in your yard. They won't be like us. They'll be thousands of years beyond having a DNA-based substrate. The bodies they use will be consciously designed and used as needed. Most existence will be virtual. A jungle is normally very loud. There are few things that can make a jungle go silent. Space seems to be silent in terms of radio broadcast. Except for us. The one thing sending out a FCK load of noise that can be heard at farther and farther distances every day. We all know the Fermi paradox. Why? If interstellar life is at all possible, why we haven't found them yet? If we assume that there is life on other planets, we have one very simple and very terrifying answer to the question. The reason we don't see other alien species is because every time one reaches a certain point, it is unfailingly eliminated. There is no evidence of other interstellar life because there is a force that wipes them all out.